Good morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching this. This is a follow-on from our class last week when we were talking about and looking at drawing and then painting holly leaves and berries. So I said I'd try and upload something for you. So this is it, just a little refresher. We had a look at ways of achieving a realistic holly leaf. They're a prickly subject. Sorry about the bad jokes, but they are. They're not the easiest thing in the world to draw. So we went through 2 or 3 options of ways that you can achieve a realistic looking holly leaf. So just to refresh your mind, then the first way we looked at was to put in your center line, and then you have these almost reversed arrows on the end. Now you can extend this center line as long as you want. Just be careful that it doesn't all get a little bit too pointy. This is the easiest one, so we're going to start here. This is your trunk, this is your branch, and that attaches down here. So this is the end we're starting from, and we're coming up, curling into that first point, dropping all the way around up to your second point, dropping down and up to that point. Go back on this side and you can come out off that line. You want to get a nice curve up to there, all the way in, all the way in. And obviously you can do these on a curve. These back lines do want to be slightly longer than the front ones realistically to be able to actually get it to look anything like your leaf. But you can put in additional points, change the angle. You can make these very wide and have an additional couple of points. And then just bring that in. Again, that's your branch end. This is your pointy end. Okay, that was the first one that we had a look at. The other one we looked at, again, put a center line in, but then around it, draw a leaf shape. Now you want to keep all these lines, even with these, you want to keep them fairly light, because ultimately you're probably going to rub them out or move them or change their direction. So with this one, I'm just going to start here, curve it in and coming out, curve in and up, curve in and up, curve in and off to that point. So your leaf shape really just helps you to get some good shapes on your holly leaf, and you can make those as large or as small as you want. So if we apply the same rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you've had a little practice with these, you'll find that they get more and more realistic. When you're looking at it with the outside leaf, the same with these in a way, really it's difficult to see it, but if we remove this guideline from around the outside edge, suddenly what you're looking at is your holly leaf. So don't let the guidelines fool you. Just use them as they're intended to provide help in your angles and your shapes, and getting a reasonable size, because holly leaves can get away from you very quickly. They can become very thin or very fat, and then it's very difficult to pull it back. So these outside lines are just guidelines to help you to get something realistic in place. And then you can start, once you're comfortable with this, you can actually start doing other things, such as maybe curling a few of these points inwards. So if we apply the same rule, we're coming from here, up, down, and instead of going back up, I'm going to bring it straight in and across, and then back up. Now when you come to paint that, obviously what you're looking at is a folded over thorn or prickly bit. So when you come to paint that, depending on the type of holly leaf, that could be lighter or darker than the rest of the leaf. But you'll need to distinguish in one way or another that it's a folded in leaf. Likewise, if you want a leaf that's folded in half, all I'm going to do is put the outer edge on one side. We're going to use that center line, start in the same way, get your curves in for that top one, and then for our folded over, I'm just following inside that. Again, if we remove some of these guidelines, it all becomes clear. So you have a nicely folded leaf. Again, depending on the type of holly, it may well be darker on the underside, or it could be darker on the upward side. When you're painting it, don't be afraid to use your artistic license. You can do some light underneath, some dark underneath. It really doesn't matter. It's your picture, so feel free to do what you like with it. Now, the third way you can actually get a realistic leaf is we're just going to start with a slightly curved point. And all I'm going to do from here is pull it back on itself and finish. Same on this side. And don't be afraid to change angles. So start one and out and back. You can have some smaller ones, some curly ones. Don't be afraid to have a play and an experiment. Depending on how your brain works will be the deciding factor as to which thing works best for you. Okay? Have a play, have a practice, and then we'll move on.